starting to see my guardian angels. Like at first I told you those specks of light. My son would say, Mommy, why are there fireflies in this room? I'm like, you see it too?
Yeah, he does. Because this is Touched by Heaven. Everyday encounters with God. God is speaking to you and me and the church and the world, and here we get to listen in on the conversations. Through near-death experiences, prophetic dreams, visions, divine intervention, angels. Here we go again with St. Michael the Archangel as he rescues Tiffany. Part 2. And if you didn't hear part 1, you got to go back to part 1. It's amazing. We'll wait for you.
And I heard audibly and loud, I woke up and I was completely conscious. And I heard a but it was so loud that no speaker or anything could ever do justice. It was like the entire house rumbled. I said, I call upon you, Archangel St. Michael. That's all I said. And it was the first time I ever tried it.
Why had Tiffany called out to Michael the Archangel? Again, all of that is in part 1.
This is my first time trying to touch on it kind of all at once. If this event that took place at the age of 4, maybe if it didn't happen, everything would have still been the same. But I have a hard time believing that.
All of that leads to these nightmares that were, well, she calls them dreams, but says they're more real than real. These dreams with demons and being carried off and
darkness and lowness, and it was just dirty and terror.
Screaming every night, paralysis in her sleep as she dealt with this darkness. And if only momentarily, when she called out to Michael, he came. And there was relief in that moment.
But at this point, I was like all about Archangel St. Michael. I had called on the name of Jesus. I'm just being honest. Up until this point, I had called on his name. I thought that I doubted that he could love me that much. But I'm still waking up and I'm still dealing with the same situation every day. And I'm still entering it every night. The sin is still there.
Okay. The sin, the drugs. She's still taking drugs every day and has no desire to stop. It's the one thing that gives her some comfort.
The sin is still there and I'm still having the dreams. You know, it's not giving me any real peace or freedom at all.
Go back again. The first time you called out Michael's name, that came out of nowhere?
Well, I had heard, I had done research.
And in the midst of the dream, you went, I'll try that. And something happened. Okay.
Right.
Okay.
And I had called out for Jesus many times. And honestly, it would just make him more mad. It would make it worse.
Yeah, Jesus is actually teaching you in the moment. He's teaching you.
Yeah, and really, so what that did was now I'm kind of like developing this relationship, I guess, with Michael, but it's kind of laying the root of the foundation of my faith. So, but it's kind of like, okay, well, that was my very first real experience with divine encounter was with Michael. Shortly thereafter, I went to get a tattoo. Okay. I have my back is sleeved. It's kind of like it's a big thing on my whole back is covered with my story.
Her story, Tiffany's story. She wants to add to it. Something on her hand, she thinks. Something that has something to do with St. Michael, but she doesn't want to tell her tattoo artist, put something about St. Michael there. He's not a Christian. She just wants something freehand. She prays to God. I'm going to my tattoo guy. Let him know. I'm just going to tell him I want a red cross and something protective. But I'm not going to say St. Michael, and let's see what the Holy Spirit brings through the tattoo artist. This is her prayer.
And I can send you a picture of this, but the entire top half of my tattoo, and it's not like huge. It just goes down the center of my hand and down my middle finger. But the entire top half of my tattoo is St. Michael's symbol. It's a cross with his wings under it and then a shield underneath the wings. It's very simple, but you can't deny it. I mean, it is exactly to a T, the top half. So now I'm like even more really putting my trust and my faith in Archangel St. Michael at this time. And I'm developing this like relationship or no, not dependency on St. Michael. because now I'm like, oh, like this is the answer, you know? And as things continue, I realize that it's much more than that. And God had to teach me a lesson, which he did. And I'll tell you about that. But I, I asked for a Saint Michael necklace for Christmas that year. So it wouldn't have been last Christmas, but the Christmas before. The Saint Michael necklace, it was like a gold chain with a Saint Michael pendant on it. And it was kind of ridiculously expensive. And I asked my husband for it for Christmas because again, I got the tattoo. I want like protection.
And husband Jason agreed. It was ridiculous in price, but it's Christmas. She wants it. Okay. So he gets her this necklace with a pendant of Michael the Archangel. Beautiful jewelry. And Tiffany decides to have it blessed by a priest. So after Mass, she goes out to the car to get the pendant and the necklace so that with some other articles she's going to get and bring in and have the priest bless it.
And he did. He blessed every item, and I put it back in my bag. He does the necklace last. Okay, the necklace is clasped. It is entirely closed. I have it holding it around my hand, like dangling around my hand, my open palm with the pendant hanging at the bottom.
I got you.
He said, "Hey, can I see that pendant again?" After he's done blessing it.
Mm-hmm.
And all I did was lift my palm up higher, kind of towards the priest, towards his face, so that the pendant would be closer to him so that he could see it. And he took it with his hand and held it towards his face and looked at it and said, "Wow, that really is beautiful." And I said, "Oh, thank you." And then he let it go and it's dangling from my hand again. I walk to my car and I'm holding it out, being very careful with it. And I get to my car, sit down inside of my car, and the pendant isn't there. But nothing has happened.
Still
It's
clasped.
still closed.
Oh
It's still
my.
clasped. The pendant is gone. The pendant is gone. So it made no sense.
And you heard nothing drop. It's not like it
No,
came it's
no, it
wow.
didn't. Trapper, it didn't. I retraced my steps, but there was no need to. It didn't fall. It didn't open. It was right before I walked out. I had it held up in front of my face. I just lowered it a little bit and continued to walk. It didn't. It didn't. That was the beginning of a lot. Because what happens? I thought about this. You take things to have them blessed. What if God doesn't want to bless them? What if, like, doesn't he have uh like he can't just bless everything no matter what, then it's not even a true blessing.
I remember talking to somebody in New Age, and they were in a New Age store, and they had rosaries. And it's like, oh, it's a rosary. I should buy a rosary. Well, thankfully, they lost
Oh
it.
yeah.
All that stuff. So I don't know what was on that expensive pendant, but it's
Mm-hmm.
possible that there was something not right about
Mm-hmm.
what you thought was just the most glorious, expensive, wonderful Michael the
Exactly.
Archangel. There was something wrong with that pendant.
100%. I
So you came to
completely
the same
believe that.
conclusion. Okay. All right.
100%.
All right.
Yes.
And perhaps the blessing actually just annihilated a cursed pendant.
Well, I think that there had to be some sort of divine intervention to get that thing that's hanging on the necklace
Yeah.
gone.
But the bottom
Right.
line is if he does not want you to have that around your neck,
That's what I should have said. Exactly.
he doesn't want you to have that around your neck.
Exactly. And
Hmm.
he didn't.
Yeah.
And I think that, so what I took from that is exactly what you just said. There's a lot of things that you don't know. You have no idea where they were made and what the intentions were when it was made,
Was it in a store
right?
where you bought it?
It was no,
Online?
it was an online jewelry store.
You never know.
You never know.
You
You
never.
never know. But this is what else I took from it. And
Yeah.
this was the turning point, is that I need to put my I need to be glorifying and putting my faith and trust in God for help from this. Because while Saint Michael is the head of the army and is obviously very, very powerful, um look what he did. I always go back to what he did when he was retrieving Moses's body. to heaven. He I don't remember exactly where it's from, but he retrieved Moses's body and he rebuked the enemy when they were trying to he said, the Lord rebuke you.
Michael
Absolutely.
has his role, and and it could have even been Michael who snatched that pendant and threw it wherever.
Uh, yes, 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 I agree.
Wasn't good for you.
Yes, it was. And just to circle back, it was Jude 1:9. It says, but even the archangel Michael, when he disputed with the devil about the body of Moses, did not dare pronounce against him a railing judgment, but said, the Lord rebuke you. There was a divine something that happened that day, and it was for, I think it was for a reason. And that is when I took it as, um, I need to start giving my glory to God, to Jesus.
Yeah. We can make angels false idols. Yeah, we can make them false idols.
That's exactly what I
And
did,
people
Trapper.
do that with psychics, with angels. They
Oh
just
yeah.
always go to angels are lower creatures. You need to be going to Trinity.
Yes.
You need to be going to Trinity.
Yes. I need to be going to
But
the
the
Trinity.
angels have their role. Michael certainly is heading up the
Mm-hmm.
army. We've heard all those images. We've heard those great stories, and he is an incredible warrior. And
Yes.
God's first.
Yes. He is an incredible warrior, and he is in the Bible, the name Michael means who is like God,
Yeah, but not God.
but not God. Right.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. So that started that message. That it was just very clear to me. So you go a little more, but still I'm dealing with the same things. I'm still dealing with the addiction. I'm trying to hide it. It's just getting worse by the day. The experiences are becoming more real. They're becoming more terrifying. At night, I would deal with this darkness that I'm telling you about. And during the day, I now, for the first time in my life, have a conviction in me that this, this is wrong. And I don't want to do this. It's hurting God. I'm hurting him. And I felt it. And every day when I would go to do this stuff, as I'm driving, I would have to pull over in parking lots and I would like, cry and scream because of the guilt and shame for the first time ever. I've been dealing with this since I was 17. At 36 years old, out of nowhere comes this conviction in me that God, I am hurting him. I am breaking his heart and it's hurting me, but I can't stop. I want to stop. Jesus, make it stop. And I'm asking him and I'm praying. And now I'm starting to, really, really pray. I have a lot of faith in Saint Michael, but I know that people get delivered from Jesus and I'm praying and I am. And this is starting now. It's starting. You have mentioned songs bubbling up for you.
All the time.
Yeah. So I woke up in the middle of the night. There was a song that was like very trendy, at least on TikTok. I don't know if it maybe about a year ago. And it was like the hook of it went, the devil can scrap, but the Lord has won. Da 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 with the rising sun. But that was like the main part. Well, the devil can scrap, but the Lord has won. Well, I woke up in the middle of the night. I sprang, shot up out of bed, and all I hear is, well, the devil can scrap, the devil can scrap, and it was just repeating like that, so loud. And I'm scrambling, I'm so disoriented, scrambling, trying to find my phone because I thought my phone had to be playing it. I had fallen asleep. Jason wasn't even in the room. And I finally find my phone. I look at it's not coming from my phone. I turn the light on. I'm looking all around. It's just getting louder and louder and louder. Well, the devil can scrap. Well, the devil can scrap. Over and over and over. And I'm like, Jason, what is that? Where is that? Well, nothing. It wasn't coming from anywhere. It was coming. It was, we know where it was coming from.
Yes, yes, we do.
But it wasn't coming from any device. The next day, I had this long, deep prayer with God. And I'm like, please let me know that you love me. Like, just tell me. Make it abundantly clear to me that you love me. That was the word I kept using. The words. Please make it abundantly clear. As soon as I got done, I put on my headphones and what was it? Oh, I put on Pandora. That's what it was. And it's the I love you always, forever, near and far, closer together, everywhere. I will be with you. Everything I will do for you. Immediately after I got done, say, make it abundantly clear. Do something to make it abundantly clear that you love me, that you are with me. Um, but this is still, I'm still struggling. And I started really, really seeking God. I had this, I don't know, conviction to pray the rosary. I'd never prayed the rosary in my life.
Rosary, all about Jesus. The life, death, and resurrection of Jesus is what all those beads are all about.
And I had to order one. I didn't even have one. And then when I got it, that conviction just wouldn't leave. That's like with contacting you, Trapper. There are something, and there's nothing that convicted me more strongly than I have to stop. I have to stop doing this. I have to stop. I never ever, I told you, I wanted to want it. I wanted to want to be better, to do better, to be more, but I just couldn't ever want it more than I wanted the drugs. And um that it was the conviction came um as this all started unveiling that there that I wanted it. Now I wanted it. It came strong. And now, yes, I'm still dealing with the darkness at night, but during the day now I'm trying to fight it. I'm trying to fight the temptation.
Okay.
And in doing so, that's when it just the anxiety and the emotions of what I'm actually doing to God, what my sin is really the reverberating effects here. Um, and so then I had that situation and I started seeking Jesus. I ordered the rosary. I prayed the rosary, and the next day, I don't know if I heard it somewhere, but I prayed that the Blessed Mother would pray for me. Did you know you could do that?
That's what the rosary is. That's exactly what the rosary
Well,
is.
That's
You're
true.
asking for her intercession. Yeah.
Right, her intercession.
Yeah.
Right. And the next day I specifically asked her to pray for me, and I asked multiple different saints. I asked Saint Michael. I even asked Jesus. I asked them to pray for me. And in as I'm sitting there doing that, a bluebird flies like right up to me. At least where I live, you don't see them all that much. And it was just very, very clear that it is like your message is being heard. Our prayers are heard.
Well, that takes you back to
And
your grandmother where this all started.
where it all started. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, that night, for the first time, I had a vision of the Blessed Mother. And I've had a couple of visions and they're very quick, like a second. But in that very quick second, you can reflect on it and bring out details. And she was praying. She was praying. She was kneeling. It was like a profile view of her. It was a side view of her kneeling down on the ground praying. And I kept every day, I'm praying and praying for deliverance. I'm praying for forgiveness. I'm praying um, for freedom, to God directly. Now I'm starting my relationship with Jesus, like really that um personal relationship that I feel is crucial. And it was starting to unfold, and as but it didn't happen in one day. It did not happen in one day. And I am now, every day that goes by, I am more convicted that I want to be freed. I want to be better. I don't want this. I don't want the drugs to be my answer anymore. That there is another way.
How long did it take?
5 months, I would say. Yeah, it was 5 months. It was May. So that was around January where like I am now, my conviction is turning towards God for my freedom and my answer. And May 22nd, 2024, I was in the uh, a pizza shop parking lot, and I was listening to some testimony, and they mentioned the power of a like praying a deliverance prayer. And I Googled real quick, Jason and my son Vincent are at home waiting for the pizza. And I Googled deliverance prayers, and the first one that came up, every word, I knew it was real. I knew it was true, and I meant it from the bottom of my heart. And what you're doing in a deliverance prayer is you are repenting. And this specific one, at least, it went down the list, and it touched on everything. It touched on false idols. It touched on new age. It touched on tarot cards. It touched on seeking different forms of God, like through Buddhism, the drugs, everything. And I repented. Now, it might be important to mention I had just gone to confession a couple days prior. Also,
Was that a new thing?
so yes, that was the first time I had been to confession since high school.
And every exorcist will tell you, more powerful than exorcism is the confessional, is the I'm sorry, and being absolved and forgiven of the sin. This is all such huge stuff. You're just showing the power of it. It's just incredible. Keep going.
So I, from the bottom of my heart, more than anything, more than ever, as I'm saying these words, I mean it from the bottom of my soul. I am so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. And so I said it, and I got done, and I got the pizza, and I went home. The next day, it wasn't a big moment. I mean, as I'm saying, the prayer it was, but it wasn't more than that.
You didn't hear angels singing, oh, that.
I did not.
A prayer can feel dry even to you, but it's
Yes.
not like it's not being
Yes.
heard.
Yes. I know. Our prayers are heard. Oh, they are heard. And I prayed that, and I went home, and I got the pizza. Well, what was interesting is the next day, I didn't have any interest in going and getting the stuff I normally was getting. I had prayed the deliverance prayer, and the next day, I wake up and go about my day, and normally I'm having to go straight to, get this fix, and I had absolutely no desire to at all, at all. It was so attractive to me. Nothing about it. For the first time since I was 17, I had no interest in it at all. And I'm like, okay, well, when is this going to end? Like what? This is this is weird. This must be a fluke. But I'm here. That was in May. And every day that went by, the disgust, it's not even just like I'm not interested in doing it. I'm disgusted by it. It makes me, I have a visceral reaction to the idea of opiates now. In addition to that, I miraculously went from 167 pounds down to 115. I kept gaining all this weight. I'm small, I'm petite, naturally. I'm 5'2", and I'm kind of small boned. But over the last 2 years, I just started gaining more and more weight. I did have a child, but it was weird. It didn't make sense. I don't know where it was coming from. I think it was just part of all the darkness, and it slowed me down. I had no energy, no motivation. I was just heavy.
But when you stopped taking the stuff, you lost over 50 pounds.
Immediately. I'm telling you, nothing changed of my diet or
Right.
my exercise or anything. I'm healthy. I have energy. I feel lighter. The dreams are gone, and not only are the dreams gone, and dreams, it's so much bigger than that. But
let's just pause for a moment here and think about these first 36 years of her life. Tiffany going through the death of her grandmother, the guilt, the obsession with death, of what happens afterwards, and it could happen at any moment, her teen years, her addictions, heroin, the opiates, the nightmares, the demons, all of this stuff happening, this daily sin, the usage. I want to get better, but I'm just not there yet. Jesus standing there, waiting, orchestrating. St. Michael the Archangel comes to the rescue, alleviating a little bit of the pain, but she's not there yet. She still wants the sin until finally, no. Conviction. I'm a sinner. I'm doing wrong. I'm hurting God. going to the confessional, picking up a rosary, going to Jesus, the deliverance prayer. Wow, all of this happening and showing her the way and all of this so that it's all understandable what's happening, this roadmap that she gives us and gives each and every one of us.
Not only that, Trapper, but I now see beams of light in my room every night when I turn out the lights. I see beams of light, and what I saw right away was beams of light everywhere. Then they got brighter. Like as time went on, they got brighter.
Do you see that just with your eyes open or even when closed?
Yes, with my eyes open and closed. Yes, the sun is setting right now. I could see it right now if I really wanted to. I could see it during the day if I tried to, but at night they're abundantly clear. Yes, with my eyes open and closed. I was also noticing like specks of light, like popping throughout the room, like little flashes of like a speck of light. And I didn't know what it was, and I didn't know what the light was at first. And I kept praying every night, Lord, please give me clarity. This is the exact words. I still to this day I say this. Lord, thank you for the spiritual gift that you have given me. Please give me clarity and understanding as you let it grow stronger. And I would say that every night. And now I know that he is making his love for me abundantly clear. He is with me, and he's with all of us. There is no doubt about it. I see it now.
And your prayer was answered.
You know, that's all I wanted. That's all I wanted. Yeah. From the time I was little, I needed to know what is the point of all of this, and where are we going? Where are the people that we love going when they pass? Or like, what more? I needed more. I just wanted more. And so I sought it so hard. I would try with tarot cards and Ouija boards and trying to see things and conjure things and everything. I've been everywhere trying to get something from the spirit, and never, not a drop. When I prayed that deliverance prayer, it had nothing to do with this. I mean, this was kind of like an afterthought at this point. I just needed to get myself right for my family. But he gave me so much more than I ever could even begin to dream. You know, if you knew me, you would understand how huge for me to see. I'm starting to see my guardian angels now. Like at first I told you those specks of light. My son would say, Mommy, why are there fireflies in this room? Yeah. Yeah. I'm like, you see it too? Yeah. Is it fireflies?
How old is he?
I mean, he's 4 now.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, it sure does. Look, we come out of the arms of God.
Yeah.
And this world, through its conditioning and programming, it strips us of that. It strips us of our natural inclination and knowledge and wisdom of what is real and where we come from. And babies and kids, they're so close to it still. Mm-hmm. It's the world that slowly takes that, but it doesn't have to, you know. I pray that over him every night, that this world have no impact on his knowledge and understanding of who you are, God. And I pray, it's so important to me because he's very in tune with this deliverance. He broke the chains. I mean, I'm surrounded by his glory when I go to sleep now. Every single night, I know I am safe. I cannot tell you what that does for me. I was so terrified to go to sleep. I mean, the dream showed me I was in chains. I was tied in a chokehold in the darker realms. And I was placing myself there through my sin, more and more, deeper and deeper.
You've been shown virtually everything.
I've never really thought about it like that.
No, you really have. You've been shown the chains. You've been shown that those chains continue into the next life if we choose to go that way.
Yeah, they do.
You've seen demons. You've seen all the negative. You've seen the power of Michael the Archangel. You've seen also that God is the ultimate power over all of it. It's his plan, but he has roles for angels to play and for us to play. Mm-hmm. I'm thinking right now about the person who's dealing with where you were. Mm-hmm. Whether it's the drugs, maybe it's booze, maybe it's tarot cards, maybe it's whatever. What do you got to say?
Right. What would I say to them? I was as much in chains as a person can possibly be. Okay. At the end there, I was taking, I think it was 8 different prescription medications a day that was doing absolutely nothing for my mental health. I had more diagnoses than I can even barely list, not to mention physical and mental addictions. Jesus, when I truly, from the bottom of my heart, that I was sorry to him for all of it, all of the sin. He broke the chains for everything. I take no drug, no nothing, nothing. Nothing for bipolar or depression. I don't have any of that.
It all left at the same time.
Yeah, it was gone. It was spirits taking advantage of me. Yeah. I made a promise to God. I said, look, if you, and this was before the deliverance prayer, I said, if you when you, because it got to the point where I knew, when you free me of this, I promise I will tell them, I will tell people, I will let them know, I will tell this story and I will help people with this story. I promise I will. And now I'm at that place,
Yeah.
where it's like, okay, well, it's time.
Your experience, you should be in front on at the pulpit on the altar of every Catholic church, Protestant church, you name it, and say, here's what I dealt with,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
preach it. And this, I keep saying it, is the greatest mistake the church is making. We're just boring people out
Yeah,
the doors. This is what's happening all around us everywhere.
yeah,
And we make it a
absolutely.
snooze.
They and people need to know.
Oh my
They
gosh.
need to know. One other thing that I wanted to say, as far as you mentioned people that are kind of struggling. I think that oftentimes, I know for me, in the beginning, before the deliverance, and when I was kind of, going through the process of coming to God and starting to build a relationship, for a while there, I felt like I need to get myself cleaned up and fixed, and then I'm going to come to God. I always knew that I needed to do that at some point in my life. I'm very, very, paranoid when it comes to death. So I knew ultimately I needed to make that a priority in my life at some point. But my plan was always to get right, get the sin out of my life, and be a better person, so that when I come to him and start building this relationship with him, I'm somebody that he's going to be halfway interested in. And that was so far from the truth.
Yeah.
God meets us where we are at.
Yeah, we keep
He
thinking we have
he
to dress up.
Right.
No.
Right. No, he is next to the brokenhearted. He is right there with you regardless anyway.
Messier the better.
And yeah, 100%. Yes, that it is nothing he hasn't seen before. So don't wait. Um, and he is the way, the truth, and the life if we let him be. Truly. He has completely changed me. God has completely changed me.
It's an incredible story. It's just an absolutely incredible, glorious story.
Thank you.
But it's a glorious story, and all glory to God again, and His
Yeah,
angels, and to
yeah.
Jesus and
All of it.
Mary, and all the things that, and the church,
Yeah,
because the church is throughout this story, and what the
yeah,
church says is true. It's all true.
yeah. That's the thing. That's the thing, Trapper. It's all true. That's the number one thing. That's well, because I know you're going to ask me my closing, and I have that written down. But I will say that one of my takeaways is that it's all true.
Yeah.
It is all true. What they say, what the Bible, it is all true. He gives that to us. It's like it's something that he left, and if we allow it and we seek, it can be the key to this, because I have felt the pain, the deepest sorrow and doom that is probably possible for a human for a very, very long time. And if there, it was not until I really, really sought and tried to and listened and read the Bible, listened and sought him with my whole heart, that the keys, it's like the keys were unlocking door by door by door, and it was the doors were just starting to open. It's all true. And it's like you say, I wish that they would talk about this kind of stuff more. I want to. I need to. figure out how to do it, a little bit more abbreviated, I think. But that'll come. That'll
It
come
will
with
come.
time.
It will come, and
Yeah.
you'll realize there's certain parts of this that are more important to some than others, and you'll figure it
Yeah.
out. You'll figure out how to
Yeah, I'll
do that.
figure it
But
out.
okay, since you have it written out there, what's your
Yes.
takeaway, Miss Tiffany?
Okay. Okay. So last night I heard this and I wanted to wrap it all up. This is a poem by Loretta P. Burns. And I think that this wraps it up nicely. So, as children bring their broken toys with tears for us to mend, I brought my broken dreams to God because he was my friend. But instead of leaving him in peace to work alone, I hung around and tried to help with ways that were my own. At last I snatched them back and cried, "How could you be so slow?" "My child," he said, "what could I do? You would never let them go." And I think that really says a lot about just giving it to him.
Glorious, glorious, glorious. It's a great episode. Thank you for this
Thank
so
you.
much. Thank you for this. One final word from Tiffany in just a moment, but quick Patreon shout out to Joni. And welcome back, Joni. Not unusual. People kind of come and go with Patreon as well as economic situations change. We feel that as well. So we understand that completely. But welcome back, Joni. If these episodes, like this episode, is a blessing to you, and you want to keep these episodes coming week to week, we rely on you for the stories and for the financial support at patreon.com. Search for Trapper Jack, or just come here to this episode. 349 here at touchedbyheaven.net. And thank you for that. Thanks again, Joni. All right. Well, final closing words here. We'll leave it with Tiffany and what Touched by Heaven means for you. What's the blessing for you?
Touched by Heaven gives me so much hope. And it reminds me that everything, all of the miraculous events and the wow of the Bible and what Jesus did during his time, he is still doing today. Miracles are still happening. Healings are still happening. Freedom and deliverance is still happening the same way it did back then. It is still happening today. And through your podcast, it just makes it more evident than anything. That's why I love it so much.
Yeah. All
Thank you,
right.
Trapper.
I'll run here, but
Still
hey,
remember it.
it's your birthday today.
It is. It is.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah,
I
it
forgot. You
is.
mentioned that in an email.
Yeah.
This how because we've been trying to find a time and a day, and we're on your
Yeah.
birthday. So
Yeah.
congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. I think this is God's present to me. Just the whole reflection of the gift that he's given me. I really believe that.
God bless you, and thank you again.
God bless you, Trapper.
All
Thank you
right.
so much.
Thank
Take
you.
care.
Bye now. All right. See you next week here at Touched by Heaven. Everyday encounters with God. I'm Trapper Jack, and I think we're done. Done? Feels like we're done.
And I'm like, okay, well, when is this going to end?